Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. And today we are just taking a look at having a person having a planner in their life. Now, obviously, in the channel, we get into things like, just bettering yourself and whatnot, things in terms of not only managing your schedule, obviously, is something no, not that we pressed into the channel in regards to that, but we did press into the channel about things like budgeting, having a structure to your life, being organized, making yourself a better version of you, which we always get into in this channel all the time. Anyway, so though we have our phones in this day and age, which obviously is plentiful, everyone uses that all the time. They have it on them all the time. That's the new age of things. Some people prefer or enjoy slowing things down and having a organizer or a journal to write in regards to that. So this is just a quick look at one. I mean, you can go anywhere. I'm going to throw a link in the description on Amazon, affiliated link, but you could go anywhere or on Amazon to find different ones that suit you. But this is really not so much about the product, even though there will be a link in the description for you to purchase it. It's more about your way of organizing yourself and being on point. So just breaking down that element of, not necessarily having to go through your phone if that doesn't work for you. Now, most people throw on their calendar on the phone, which is great. You get a notification. That's great. But sometimes the actual act of writing things down helps you remember it more. And having a catalog of things, along with the fact that sometimes when you do it like that, um, you then can look back at it later on. Obviously, this is jumping for the year ahead because that's where we're going to, so you can get a head start on it. And I'll throw the affiliated link also for the 2023 one of this book, even though it's really coming to an end. And I'll also throw affiliated link for another version as well that has blank. You could just start where you're at, whatever month you're in, and you write it manually. But I went with this one right here just to kind of get a feel because it says planner, calendar, organizer, and budget. And it's definitely, you get one that suits you or that works for you. But essentially, what I like with this is that, you have the month over here, and then it breaks down into monthly goals. And I think this is important. Like I said, find a journal that works for you or find a blank one and then write in what you want with it. But like I said, the point of what we're getting at inside this video is not really just this review of this book, but more so, or in addition to that, just you organizing your life. So here you have monthly goals, and I like this how it breaks down goals, uh, obstacles, and notes. Your daily routine. So whatever your daily routine is that you're going to be doing for that month, you can break that down. So that way, say if you say, okay, in the morning, I go get breakfast, then I go to the gym, afternoon time, maybe I go to work, whatever the case, the nighttime schedule, whatever it is. And then you can break down your weeks, each week for that month like this. If you have some additional notes you want to write to it next to it. So maybe on the main calendar part, you might say, okay, well, I don't I put down like a little note of what I'm doing, but you may need more detail in it. You will put the date, and then you put the details that you have in there, some notes. Maybe that's what you did for the day, or maybe things you're going to have to do in a more detailed breakdown. So you see how just each month is very articulated with a lot of pages here. And then at the end of it, you have your monthly budget for bills, your income, and then some more notes. So, you could write down all the bills you had for the month as you have them. Maybe it's your main bills or whatever the case is, or even just things that you expended, that you had spent in general throughout the month. So you have a sense of where you at financially. And then this is obviously your income, all your sources of income that you have coming in. You can write them out. So that way you can kind of at the end of the month separate the bills or minus the bills from your income budget and, kind of see where you're at that moment. And then additional notes if you just didn't have enough space for that month. And then obviously you go on to the next month, which I like in that regards. Now, also in addition to that, you have at the end of the book, you have a context area. Like back in the days when we used to always write down, like I have a phone book, you have your, name of a person, their phone number, and their address, and you can put that in here. But in addition, and this can be also a negative, but it depends on how you want to use it. You've got an area for, like, say, websites. You can write down a site, um, you know, your username for how you log in and your password. So that way, a lot of times nowadays, we've got all these different passwords for different sites, whether it's social media, whether it's business or anything of that sort. And this way, you're able to, put that in here. Now, granted, if you do that, make sure that, maybe you could even write it in code, a password, and you would say, and maybe parentheses, um, you know, my common code that I use, and then add a parentheses, maybe a couple of numbers that go behind it, and then, maybe exclamation point or something like that. So that way no one will know what the actual code is, but it's a memory reference for you to go, oh yeah, it's that one I normally use for this. Or then after once you know what your codes are, if you make multiple ones, you could say that's for password, you could say same as Gmail code in parentheses, and then maybe outside of the parentheses, new numbers that represent, okay, it's basically the same as my maybe Gmail code, but with a couple of different numbers attached to it. So you can kind of use a little codex for yourself when it comes to these. That way, if you lose your book, but essentially, it's a way for you to do that. So I like this book, but in general, speaking on just the topic of planning your life, make sure you get into that hobby, into the habit. I'm sorry, structuring, planning out your day. This will go back to, like we mentioned in previous videos, about like budgeting and things of that sort. Breaking down how you start like managing your week in terms of fitness as well. Put in there somewhere in the schedule, I got to exercise and whatnot. So all these kind of little things. So you kind of get the idea. But I would recommend something. You could purchase this if you want. I recommend something that has a very detailed aspect of it, and it's not very simple. That way, it gives you a guide on how to structure yourself, as opposed to just a blank one where maybe you have that kind of mindset to know what to put into things. But if you don't, this one gives you that kind of structure. So that way, you kind of nerdy know to be guided by, okay, I got to make it a plan for the week. I got to make it a budget for the week. I got to make my monthly goals, because like I mentioned before, that's one thing too that I like inside this book here, that you have your goals and your obstacles. What are the things you have to get past this month? Sometimes it's going to be an ongoing thing every month, but sometimes we always have to make note of that too. Not just our goals, what we would accomplish, but breaking down the actual obstacles that we have for ourselves and how we're going to get around those. So that being said, you guys, comments down below. Be safe. Check out this planner, calendar organizer, budgeter book, and pick one up or on Amazon, whichever one fits you. Like I said, I'm going to throw a couple of them inside the link. And you guys take care, be safe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.